What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I did the 12-team playoff using NCAA14 a few weeks back, and we got some pretty interesting or not so interesting results from this. And I'd like to recap just what was going on here. I know there's a few other people who do this, but I thought it was fun. It's probably something I'm going to do. Got the capture card rocking, so let's make this happen. And I'll probably do the same thing for the NCAA tournament come in March. We'll see. All right, so what I did here is I took NCAA 14, a normal copy, not modded, no college football revamped, nothing else, but I did take rosters from Operation Sports Forum. Shout out to Vikes fan 059. He's been doing it for many years. He should get the credit. He said he's not going to do it anymore, but I think if this next game in 24 gets delayed, he's going to pick it up again. But I think he should keep doing it because I don't know if NCAA 24 is going to be as good, but people still buy it and people still play it. So we'll have to see what happens here. So the bracket I took is the top 12 teams. You might be thinking, hey, number 12. Why is Liberty there? They're not number 12. They're like number 17 or something. This is stupid. No. This whole 12-team playoff is going to get complicated for a lot of different reasons, but whatever. We like money. NCAA football loves money, and that's what we're going to do. That is what we're going to do. It's all about the green, baby. So the top 6 highest ranked teams who are conference champions are automatically in. They are going to be automatically in. And then the rest is the field of, I guess, the 7. So the next highest ranked 7 teams will be in, and then they mix and match them all together. So even though Liberty won their conference and they're the 6th highest ranked team out of this, they don't fall into 6th place. They just are in the running, right? And so because of all of the other teams, they're right at the bottom. So Liberty takes over Oklahoma's spot. Oklahoma was number 12. They're out now because you need to have that 6th conference champion in there, and Oklahoma didn't win it. So where does that leave it? So out of this, you would normally have, out of the final rankings, you'd have number 7 Ohio State playing number 10 Penn State. However, we've already seen that matchup. It's boring. We don't want to see it again. We're going to mix it up. So I swapped out Ole Miss and Penn State to make it a little more interesting. You get the matchups of Ohio State, Ole Miss, and Georgia, Penn State. Much better matchups, I thought, and some upsets throughout this. I set all of the weather to something according to where they were. You have matchups in Florida, the Georgia Dome, but you did have outdoor matchups in Eugene, Oregon, as well as Columbus, Ohio. So I put the weather appropriate. I didn't make it snowstorm. I made it cold, 25 degrees in Columbus, 34 or so in Eugene. Weather set to clear cloudy. I guess it might have had an effect. Oh well. I also removed Travis and Rodemaker from Florida State. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you know what happened to them and what happened to Florida State as a team. They got snubbed. Let's be honest, they got snubbed. Don't deny it. But I forgot to remove Zinter, University of Michigan. Would it have had a major effect? I don't know. Maybe. You should add a comment if you think I should run that simulation. It's probably too close and you'd probably just watch the game in a few days. Why don't you just do that? And then lastly, Liberty didn't exist in 2014. They were a Division II school that was booted up. And so I said, that's fine. So I thought, if we can't have Liberty, let's have another Conference USA team. Marshall, that'll work. Throw Marshall in there. So they got him playing Marshall, sue me. I'm not going to make a fake team and like mod my system for that. Nah, come on, man. I'm past that. What you're going to notice about these games is how high scoring they are, how many yards everybody has, how many field goals everybody kicked, how many touchdowns everyone has, how many yards everyone ran and threw, and there's reasons for that. So you're going to see scores like boom, like boom, like boom, and boom, and you're going to be thinking this isn't 2024 type of football. Absolutely not. There's a few reasons. So one is rule changes. Number one is rule changes. Back in 2014, you had clock stopping on any single out-of-bounds play. briefly on any first down at any point in time and any incompletion. Current day, any incompletion will stop the clock. True. But any sort of out of bounds play, and it'll only stop briefly on first downs with 2 minutes to each half. So most of the game, that clock's still going, regardless of if they step out of bounds, if they get the first down. And so you have just a lot more time being thrown off the clock, much lower play times, lower, I guess, possession, I guess if you look at it that way, a lot less time to actually score in the game. Number 2, AI is horrible at clock management. You'll watch some of these games and it is just absurd how poorly they're not running out the clock. They're still throwing on first down when they have are up by 4 points and there's a minute left. Run the ball. What are you doing? This is Les Miles level of clock management. It's terrible. And I'm like, some of these games, it's a video game. It's a simulation. It has no bearing. Why does this matter? Because it's fun. And so just looking at this, you'll probably be pulling your hair out of why on earth are they even running these plays in this way? The coach should be fired. Throw out the coaching staff. This is ridiculous. And number 3, the AI basically is doing a no huddle every single play. So you usually have 20 to 30 second runoff between plays in real life, in real games. In NCAA14, there's an automatic 10-second runoff if they aren't doing a no huddle. And right after that 10-second runoff, they've selected the play, they get up to the line, and they usually run the play. So maybe it's like a 12-second runoff instead of a 20 to 30-second runoff for every single play. That adds up over the entirety of a game. So that score of 54 to 50 at the end of a game is utterly ridiculous. And it is because it's a video game. Enjoy it. All right. So let's recap some of the games here. First matchup, Ole Miss, Ohio State at the Shoe. Number 7, number 10. This is implying that Ohio State gets to play a major postseason game. I'm not saying that the bowl that they're in is not, but this would be for the playoffs. It changes everything. You'd still have Kyle McCord there fighting for his life, putting on a show. The problem is Lane Kiffin and staff came prepared. They go in the Shoe, they smack them around, and they're able to win this 58-44 in a convincing fashion. Kyle McCord did not look good in this game, but there's always next year, whatever team he's on. Next game, we go down to Florida. Let's see Florida State Liberty. And Florida State, even without Travis and even without Rodemaker, they still had Duffy come up. And Duffy, apparently in this game, is really good. He's actually really good. So Florida State's defense is able to hold them down to 21 points, which in this context is a huge, huge defensive effort, considering how much time Marshall has, and just the ability to score in this game is ridiculous. Florida State comes out on top 55-21 with their third string quarterback. You should have kept him in the top 4. Moving on. You have Oregon at home taking on Missouri. I don't know what it is with these rosters, but Bo Nix apparently has an injury setting extremely high because he went down in the first quarter. They brought in the backup. They're still able to clean house. Not as convincing as how Oregon should be. A high-powered offense, very quick, cutthroat. What you see is a 41-31 win over Missouri. They move on to play Michigan. Then you got Georgia, Penn State at the Georgia Dome. So this is the alternate story where James Franklin's offensive coordinator was not fired, was not let go. He's continuing on. He put on a show, man. We got 76-51. Penn State, James Franklin with the win of his entire career like that. No hot seat there in Happy Valley. He's going to continue on for a great career. He's probably going to beat Ohio State next year in this simulation. In real world, probably not. No. He's not that good. Anyway, now we're on to round 2, where we see the Florida State-Alabama game. we want to see Florida State play one of these teams. I think we all do. I think we all kind of expected it to be just a complete blowout if they played Alabama, or if they played Michigan or Texas or whoever, given the state of their team. And given how they played against Louisville, sure, possibly. But this game thinks otherwise. So you had a third-string quarterback from Florida State going up against Jalen Milroe and Alabama. I think just maybe this game doesn't think Alabama's that good, because Alabama struggled a decent amount against the teams in this playoff. Florida State is able to keep this real tight and is able to put Alabama on the ropes to have them fight to the death in a mud pit for a knife. And so what you see is a 56-51 result of this game. Duffy should be their starting quarterback next year, if Travis isn't back or better. I don't know his situation, but I will say this was a very interesting game to watch, and at least NCAA14 thinks Florida State is worth being in that top 4. Moving on, Penn State, Texas. So this would be the Cotton Bowl over in Texas. Penn State with Drew Aller coming in, able to put up 36 points on Texas, but Texas and Quinn Ewers coming in with 41 points. They're putting a hurting on it. They come out with the win, they move on. So far you got the number 4 team and the number 3 team going through. Can you guess the other two? Washington, Ole Miss. You get the Washington team, the little engine that could. At every adversity where they probably should have lost, they came out on top. Sometimes by 3 points, sometimes by a handful. I forget how much they beat Arizona by, but man, they're cutting it thin. But Penix is able to come through in the clutch, and he continues to do so here. And they're able to win by 3 points in the Fiesta Bowl, beating Ole Miss, taking home the crown, and going to the playoff. Number 2 team in. Very interesting. And last but not least, you have Michigan, Oregon. Now I would have eagerly watched this game. So I'm MSU undergrad, Michigan graduate. I know, it pains me as well every single day. I don't know how I do it. But to see this game, Oregon, always high-powered, always very fun to watch. They're very interesting. I hate that they go for 2 so many times after touchdown, but I respect them for it, because they try to get you off guard. Michigan is able to come in. J.J. McCarthy putting on a show, 57 points. Bo Nix, for whatever reason, is made of glass, and he goes down in the first quarter again, bringing in the backup. They're able to put on 33 points against Michigan, but it is not enough. Michigan takes it home. They're number 1, and they're going into the playoffs. So when we see the playoff now, surprise, surprise, this looks completely different, doesn't it? Number 1 playing 4, 2 and 3. Who thought that? All right, let's dive into the simulation. Let's see what we got here. Let's start with 2 and 3. Washington, Texas. This game, a bit more commanding from Penix. He's able to put up 54 points. The Heisman runner-up. I remember watching him at Indiana. He did great things there. It's great to see him doing well there at Washington. And Texas, still a very dominant team, puts up 38 points, but it's not enough in the Sugar Bowl. Following this, you get Washington into the national championship. Number 2 going in. Surprise, surprise. Probably to a lot of people. I think a lot of people are picking Texas over this one. It's funny how teams with 1 loss somehow look better than teams that are undefeated. You start to look at, like, oh, maybe they have a loss because they had a harder schedule. I don't know. Time will tell. It's probably a psychological thing. I don't know. I'll look it up. All right, Michigan, Alabama. Also very interested in this one. I watched this one. And this one was pretty back and forth early on, but then Michigan just getting blown coverage, throws a deep ball, gets a touchdown, and then quick after on the next Alabama possession, they fumble it. It's a fumble to 6 points, And from there on out, Michigan is in the driver's seat, putting on the hurt, and they'll be able to put up 53 points to Alabama's 37, and they made it look easy. Michigan wins here in the Rose Bowl. They're heading to the college football playoff. Then last but not least, you have the national championship here, the true national championship after the 10 other games that you may have watched in this playoff extravaganza, and how much money these teams and this organization would have made in this new setup, and how much you probably wouldn't have watched any other team in this bowl season. Let's talk about that. Just kidding. When we talk about the playoff, Washington, again, Penix doing work, coming out on top. This one was a nail biter, especially in the last 5 minutes. I was talking about how bad the AI is at clock management. My God, both teams are gonna be pulling your hair out, because none of them are killing clock when they have possession and the lead. I don't understand. It's really bad. But this goes back and forth in the last couple minutes, just a shootout at the end of it. At the end of the day, Washington comes out on top. They're able to kneel it down to victory formation and take it in. 54-50, Washington wins. Washington earns their third national title. They had won two before in 1960, 1991, and in 2024, they claim it again. Penix, doing work, Heisman runner-up, takes home the real trophy, national championship. Hooey! At the end of the day, this was a lot of fun. It's fun to see these simulations and just think about what if, I'll do the same with NCAA basketball come March, and we'll see what happens then. Thanks for watching.